We're going to take a look at the Marmot Twilight 2P. This is a two-person tent. It's designed for 3-season backpacking. Weighs in at 5 pounds and 9 ounces. Does include a footprint and a gear loft when you purchase this tent. Let's take a look at some of the features. The Twilight 2P comes with 2 doors and 2 vestibules. As you can see here, there's kind of an angled design to the tent body itself. So you have one door on this side. You can see the second door on this side kind of peels back. And then when we put the fly on, you'll see there's a vestibule that's created on either side of it. This tent does have a hub pole design. So you've got what looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 poles is actually one pole, and you have these hubs that are connecting them together. This means it's really quick and easy to set up. You've got your blue pole across the middle here. It is hubbed in with the yellowish green poles, and every grommet on the corner and even the sides of this tent is color-coded to match up with the tip of that pole structure. So it's very easy to see which pole goes into which grommet. It allows for a really quick setup. Marmot's using a DAC press fit pole. These are aluminum poles on this tent. They allow for it to be lightweight enough that you can use it for backpacking, carry it into the backcountry, and still have really good stability and be very durable. So this tent's going to be great, especially because of this pole design and a little bit more of the angler to the tent in higher windy situations or bad weather. So the body of the Twilight 2P is made out of a couple different types of material here. You do have a catenary cut floor, so that means you've got nice angles seamed into this that keep the edge of the tent here. You see these seams kind of up off the ground. It is waterproof and seam taped, ready to go when you purchase it, so it is a waterproof floor. Then on portions of the lower part of the tent here and around the sides, you'll see there's this lightweight nylon material. It allows for some privacy. And then through most portions of the top of the tent, you have this mesh no-seam netting, which is going to allow for great breathability, really good airflow, and eliminate some of that condensation that shows up in cooler weather camping. The body of the tent attaches to the pole structure through a series of dual clips. They're pretty easy to work, and they're very secure in attachment to that pole system. So I'm sitting inside the Twilight 2P, and this is designed to be a minimal 2-person backpacking shelter. It's not going to have a ton of extra space. There is enough room to get 2 20-inch wide, standard sleeping pads inside this tent. You do have some pockets here, one on each side, so each person would have their own pocket to store items in. And I mentioned earlier that this comes with a free gear loft. It is included when you purchase this tent. You've got anchor points here in the top that hook this up, and it just kind of hangs over your head. You can throw small items up there, a headlamp or a snack or something, just to get it out of the way and give you a little bit more space inside the tent. And you'll notice that this isn't an overly tall tent. So I'm sitting up in here. I do have headroom. If the gear loft's in, I don't have as much headroom. The dimensions going from the floor to the highest point here are 40 inches. And you do get a lot of tapering through the back end of the tent this way and where your feet would be. So you're not going to have as much space back there. But like I said, it is designed to be that minimal backpacking shelter, and it's definitely going to be weather worthy and keep 2 people dry and relatively comfortable. So here you can see the back side of the Twilight 2P, that foot box here, and the way it kind of tapers down. You do have a panel of mesh at the back here that allows that airflow to move through, and some of this good nylon across here that offers some privacy, maybe holds in a little bit of warm air in cooler temperatures. And you can see the wrap of the floor coming up the walls here, and this is more of a waterproof material. Here's the Twilight 2P with the fly on it. It is a full coverage fly. All the seams are taped, so it's completely waterproof, very weather-worthy. And you can see here with the fly on that sort of like tapered angular wall design I was talking about, where here's your 2 vestibules that are kind of arching out here. You've got about 10 square feet in either vestibule, so even though this is kind of quite a bit of a lean, you'll still have some good space, and the space back in there is very usable for storing a pack and boots, trekking poles. This is also kind of a nice design because it allows, when this is rolled back and the door is open, you can kind of sit here. You could still have some stuff that's kind of under weather protection, but potentially, do some cooking here if you needed to in some drizzly weather. And you can see here you've got 2 vent systems set up on the top here. It's just a stiffened pole that's wrapped inside a sleeve. You can close it down, and there's a Velcro closure if you don't want that ventilation coming through. But it's very easy and quick to go ahead and put it back in, and there's a Velcro tab that just kind of connects those and anchors that there really well. You've got your Marmot logos, which are also reflective, as well as some of these other reflective points you'll see around on the tent here. So that's great if it's nighttime and you're coming back with a headlamp. you throw some light on those, they show up. Since this is a nice dark green color that does blend in well, you've got that visibility to find your own tent in the dark if you're coming back from a bathroom break. I'd like to talk a little bit about some other features here. You do have a window weld, and you'll notice here these are extra guy line points here. There's one there, there's one here. You'll see them at other points around the tent, particularly on the back side. These are other points to tie guy lines to and anchor the tent out if you are going to see some bad weather. Really stiffens and adds to the structure that these poles are already adding, which is a really great structure for windy weather, especially with this really kind of streamlined design. It sets up real well. And I just want to point out that you do have these other options here to secure this tent down. And along with some of these other features that come with the tent, Marmot does include a pole splint. Should you have a pole break by accident or in the field at some point, you can splint it up with this and some duct tape and get through the rest of your trip without a problem. They do include a little bit of guy line as well as the guy line tighteners that gives you some options there. Tents don't necessarily come with stakes to attach or guy lines to attach to every single guy point. So that's something that if you think you're going to go out into bad weather, you may want to consider picking up extras of those in order to do that setup. It's not necessarily included. Marmot does definitely include enough stakes to set this tent up in the manner that you see it here, which is ready to go and plenty weather worthy for most weather conditions. I want to give you a closer look at the way the tent and the poles and the footprint and everything kind of fits together here. Here you can see the footprint underneath the tent, and it is cut notably shorter on the edges than the tent itself. You want the body of the tent to fit out a good bit over that footprint so water can't collect between the footprint and the floor of your tent. So the tent comes with your real nice durable, these nice bar tack webbing pieces here on the corner sewn in. You've got a Fastex buckle. Here's your grommet. As I mentioned, it's color coded. You can see the pole is color coded on the tip with the same color. Each of these poles and each of the grommets that they match up with are different colors, so it's pretty quick and easy to figure out which one goes where. Your footprint also has a grommet on it, as well as one of the ends of a Fastex buckle. If you're using the tent with the footprint in a situation like this, you take your stakes, you can kind of take, the pole of the tent sticks out here, you can kind of tuck the other grommet underneath. You can take the two loops in the end of the webbing and throw your stake through it, kind of stake the whole thing out together. Now, the reason that the footprint also includes this sort of a buckle. Now, this is the buckle that the fly is going to actually lock into and connect to the whole structure. The footprint has one that's going to be extra when using it in conjunction, and that's because Marmot did design this tent to have a bare bones setup. That means that you can leave the tent body at home, so you would basically eliminating that from your setup. You would use the footprint, and you would use the poles, and you would set it up like this. Then you would need the fly to create basically a lightweight waterproof shelter with the footprint as the floor. This buckle being here at this point allows you to clip the fly into that once the tent is removed from that setup, and then you still have that webbing loop at the end to stake the whole thing out.